Joe, how are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Is this a sad day? Is this a happy day? How do you look at this day that you knew eventually would come?
Today is a Tuesday. Um, it's a good, yeah. It's a happy and sad day. This was very mixed emotions. My statement kind of said like everything that I wanted to say without like getting really, really personal with every single person that has affected my whole entire career. But it was very mixed emotions throughout this whole entire thing because obviously I did not want to quit playing football. Still have a huge love for it. It's going to be a weird transition going into retirement because it wasn't a thing where I was like, all right, this is going to be my last year. I'm going to be done. But it was just the right decision for me. So I think because of that, it was really hard for me. And I think it'll probably be hard going forward, but it was the right decision for me, and it was the right decision for my family, and it's what needed to be happen, what needed to happen, and but yeah, tough because football is what I know and what I loved since I was a little kid, and to not have that anymore. I think right now because it's the off season, it's gonna be it's easier because no one's playing football, but once it gets closer to the season, it's like, all right, well, I should be going to training camp right now. I should be getting ready for the football season. I think it'll hit me a little bit harder.
Hey Joe, it's Matt Barrows.
What's up, man?
I'm good, doing well. How are you?
Doing great.
Thanks for asking. You mentioned a neck condition in your letter. When did you become aware of that, and did it impact you during the season? What was the timeline on all of that?
Yeah, so I mean, just last year, I kind of make a general statement about like the whole entire season last year. Like last year should have been like the pinnacle of like my career. Like we had an absolutely unbelievable team from like the culture, the coaching staff, front office, like the players that are around, like, and it was that the whole entire year. But for me personally, it was really, really difficult because of the injuries. So I mean, we had the broken leg, which was kind of a weird rehab for that. It wasn't very straightforward. I had a lot of kind of complications coming back from that. I think they were pretty documented. And then, I came back, broke the finger, had to have the surgery on that. Now it was just a broken finger. But then while that happened, I had like, a back thing. And then I've had kind of neck stuff that's been going on for a little bit. And it just kind of got worse and worse and worse as the season went on. So the last half of the year, not really the last half of the year. It's kind of like last 2-3 games, maybe it started getting really progressively worse. And then in the playoffs, it was, really bad. And then kind of culminated with the Super Bowl being the worst. And then I got a lot of doctor opinions and stuff, and kind of went through the whole process. And after the season was done, and just kind of weighed a lot of different decisions and opinions and options and all that stuff, and just took it all in and just kind of made a decision that for me, family, what my life looks like going forward, it was the right time, I guess, if there is a right time to step away.
Hey Joe, Nick Wagner here. Congrats on a great career. I want to know. I know you're not necessarily big into determining legacies and things like that, but how would you like people to remember you both on and off the field as a player?
First, let me just say, like, I was absolutely overwhelmed and like blown away by the response from everybody. I mean, the Niners, like, all the work they did on their end to like do little tribute videos and like put together like all that stuff, like that meant so much to me. I'm a lineman, and it's our job to not be noticed, and it's our job to kind of just do our job and do the grunt work. And it was really cool of them to do all that stuff. And I know playing for that franchise meant a ton for me. It really meant a lot for them to show a lot of appreciation. I actually forgot what the question was. What was the question again?
How would you want to be remembered?
How do I remember? things that like are important to me is like stuff that I can, tell my kids and like hang my hat on, is that like, like life lessons of like how you approached, the day in, day out stuff. I don't want to be remembered for like a guy that like, a couple plays here and there. I just want to be remembered a guy that gave his all like every single day. Like, people in the locker room can say like, hey, this guy was consistent on a day in, June 14th as he was during, a playoff game. The guy treated every single moment the exact same. And I think that is something that I always try to strive for, was just to be a consistent performer and try to take my job as serious as I could every single day. So I think that's, what would be important to me. But as far as like what legacy is and all that stuff and like how I want to be remembered, like I would hope they would respect, the work that I put in and know that I gave it my all and did everything I could to try to better the team and try to do everything I could to help the team win. But as far as like what I need to, when I want to be remembered as, I don't really have any.
Joe, it's Cam. Congratulations.
What's up, Cam? I like the profile picture, man.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Congrats to you and your family. I was going to ask you about your favorite plays and whether the Saints block and all that, but tell me what you see yourself in about 5 years or so. What's the Joe Staley plan of attack here? And Joe, do you have to have like any further surgeries on yourself?
I mean, I'm sure down the road, but right now there's nothing imminent at all. I'll take that whenever that stuff presents itself. I mean, I think that's pretty common as far as any retired NFL player. They put a lot of stuff off until after they're done with the game of football, and then they kind of address stuff as it goes. But what it looks like 5 years from now is pretty much the same I've been my whole life. I'm going to be whatever I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be working really hard at it. Hopefully I'll be a lot lighter and a lot better shape. I'll be healthier. Just be a best family man, best dad I can be, and just working incredibly hard at whatever it is. So as far as like what I want to do when the game's done, I want to be involved in football in some capacity. I've had preliminary discussions with the Niners of, kind of doing something with them. Don't really know what that's going to entail, but I'm very interested in all that stuff. I've had people in the media kind of reach out and see what my interest is in doing that stuff. I've had talks with my agent kind of doing like training for offensive line stuff and helping him out. So I don't have like a definitive plan. I've kind of just gone through this whole thing. It's just like really going to take like 1 year and just enjoy, trying to be healthy and being around the house as much as I can. And then I'm sure I'll go stir crazy around here and need to have something to do.
Hey, Joe, this is Eric. How you doing?
Eric, what's up?
Hey, I wanted to ask you, so did you, after the season, did you consult with, doctors? And can you just talk about maybe when you actually kind of knew in your heart or maybe officially knew that you were going to retire?
Yeah, so after the season was done, I kind of went and saw this doctor. And actually not just a doctor, I saw a bunch of different doctors. Kind of get a lot of different opinions on what was going on and, kind of risk going forward and all that stuff. Weighed all that. And then I was really in contact with the Niners. I mean, I was in contact with them the whole entire time. They knew that this was something that I was weighing after the season was done. And tried to be as open and honest as I could during the whole entire time, because it was really important for me to like, make sure, whatever the decision was that I was going to make, that I wasn't screwing them over, so to say. So I knew that, the draft basically was like kind of like the deadline for that for me, because, and also for them, just because I wanted them to know 100% what I was going to do by then. But they were, I kind of made the decision, that it was kind of leaning towards that way probably about a month ago, but I still wanted to give myself more time to see if, conditions improved, if things got better, if my mind changed, any of that stuff. And, it just didn't. So I went to Kyle and John and talked to them the week of the draft and kind of gave them my 100%. This is the final answer kind of deal. And it was really important to me that they were able to have a plan in place. I couldn't be more excited for Trent to be up with the Niners now. Just knowing that a player of his ability is going to be able to take over that left side and hopefully not miss a beat at all. And he's a tremendous player. So really excited that everything kind of worked out on all ends. I'm happy with the decision I made for me and my family. Happy with the decision the Niners made for the franchise. I can't wait to watch what they do this upcoming year.
Hey, Joe, this is Chris Biederman. I do want to ask you about particular moments and plays and how you reflect on, I don't know if that block you made on Alex's run in the Saints playoff game is your favorite play, but is it your favorite play, first of all? How do you reflect on it? And then also, what did that spike in Seattle week 17 mean for you individually?
Yeah. I think favorite play, like that one gets the most play because it was probably the most memorable as far as the moment, or being our first playoff game we had in a long time, the way the game went. But really that was just a play of me running and almost missing the block and kind of tripping a dude. My favorite plays are like plays that no one would ever recognize. Where like me and Mike Upati pulled up a 3 technique and took him off 7 yards off the ball and dumped him on the ground. Plays like that, or like when you're in a 2-minute drill and you have a 7-step drop on a pass protection and you're going against a really great player like Khalil Mack, and holding up and being able to give the quarterback time in the pocket like that. Those are my favorite plays because I think that being an offensive about is like really doing your job at an exceptional high level. But yeah, that's a very memorable play, and I think just because of the moment, that's something that will always stick out in my mind. Coming around the corner and leading Alex to that touchdown. And then what was the next question?
The celebration spike you had in Seattle 17.
That was a ton. I don't know. I even remember vividly in my mind being in my head in that moment and being like this is happening. This is we're gonna beat the Seahawks right now in a huge game in Seattle. On Monday Night Football or Sunday Night Football. This is happening. I remember just being I've been waiting my whole career for this spike, and I just put everything I had. And I also at the last second, I was like, "Don't fall over." And so that was talk about most memorable moments in my life. That spike meant a ton to me personally, just because of all the heartache that we had in Seattle throughout the years. But yeah, so many different memories of football that I can kind of talk about for hours on end. But those are definitely some of them.
Hey Joe, it's David Lombardi.
What's up, David?
Along the same lines, I just wanted to rewind a bit further to maybe your high school or college career. Now that you have a chance to look at the whole entirety of work, I'm curious if you have any really fond memories of your days as a tight end, scoring some touchdowns, catching the ball from.
I scored 1. And it was a wasted opportunity for a celebration freshman year. Caught a fade route. It's funny how you remember that in great detail. The touchdown that you had your freshman year of college, but as far as memories go in the NFL and the actual games that matter, they're kind of all blur together. But yeah, in college that was fun playing tight end. Because all I knew though at the time, I would never have made a career out of myself in the NFL if I had not switched positions though. So very thankful for what Brian Kelly and Paul Longo, Jeff Quinn, all those coaches I had at Central Michigan at the time to switch positions with me and teach me basically the basics of offensive line play, because I was a pretty pedestrian tight end when I was there.
Hey Joe, it's Jennifer.
Hey Jennifer.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, Patrick Willis talked to us a little earlier today, and he was reminiscing about your 2007 draft class. I mean, there was Deshaun Goldson, there was Terrell Brown. Can you go back to that and like what it was like that rookie year with that group of guys?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I don't think we even realized how special it was. When we came in together, we didn't really know. We all kind of came into the NFL that year, and we all went through the whole entire experience together. And we were just like, all right, this is what the NFL is, and we don't really understand who's good and who's not good. We're just going to try to do our best. And we ended up having a lot of special players on that team that were a huge catalyst for us being so good in the first Super Bowl run that we had with Harbaugh. And Patrick, I just remember he was the first player that I met coming off the plane in San Francisco, and almost just being in awe because I'm just a huge football fan and knew all about him. A school kid from Central Michigan, so I just think it's cool just to be in the presence of like that, and a guy like him to go through my career with, a guy that really showed every single day what it was to be a pro. And I have nothing but great things to say about all those guys. We all still keep in contact, and it was a great group of dudes to go through.
Hey, Joe, it's Tracy. One of the things that George and Mike talked about was how you knew as a leader when to be serious and when to be funny. Where did you learn that from, and how were you able to instill that in some of the younger guys?
I don't know. I never learned that. I think it was really just almost like a stress mechanism. Like a thing I used to deal with stress was just try to make light of what I was feeling a lot of stress about, So coming into the NFL, it's like I was super serious. For anybody that was there, my rookie year, I was incredibly serious all the time. They actually called me G.I. Joe my rookie year. And I just couldn't deal with the stress that I was feeling every single day to perform and, at the highest level, and put a lot of stress on myself to be perfect at everything I did in practice field and meeting rooms and all that stuff. And I was just like, this is not me. This is not who I am. I mean, I've always been this kind of personality when I was younger. And then once I got kind of a little bit more comfortable and kind of understood, I can a little bit understand what I'm doing around here. Then I think my personality kind of came out, and I was always able to just flip the switch on and off. I mean, I understood when it was, time to lock in, and, there's business to be had, and there's, technique to learn, and, schemes to learn in the classroom. And I knew it was time to just, have fun, and we're, going to do some runs, and might as well talk some trash and laugh while you're doing it, and, make it a competition and try to push guys that way. Because that's always kind of been my mechanism of dealing with stress, is try to be loose in that way. And it served me well. And I think, it's not for everybody, guys don't all respond like that, but I think, certain personalities, like you said, George and, Mike, two guys that come to mind that are they know when to have fun, and they know when to turn it on.
Joe, this is Chris again. You have kind of a self-deprecating spirit about you sometimes. I'm wondering what it was like.
I took myself very serious.
I wonder what it was like for you when you first met Mike McGlinchey when he came in as a rookie, knowing that he had sort of been watching you for a while and I guess idolized you for a couple years, and what that was like for you.
Yeah, I mean, I expected that because of knowing Mike and the coaching staff that he had at Notre Dame, and I just knew. They told me, he was like, dude, this kid's obsessed with you. You got to make sure that you're his hero. You got to do it. No, I'm just joking. No, it was cool. I mean, it was very instant with Mike. Just the connection. I mean, the kid's for real, a little brother to me. And it was just very similar personalities, very similar styles, the way we kind of viewed football, the way we worked. It was very easy. And it's cool. I didn't really even understand all that stuff. Like, I didn't learn about this stuff. I remember I went to his house, one of the first times I went to his house, and he had like a high school jersey of his that he has like framed in his little like man cave area, and it was number 74. And so I was just giving him like crap, not even knowing that he like, I was like, oh, look at that. Look at it. You have your hero in the house now. You wore my jersey number when you were in high school. And he was like joking around. And he was like, yeah, and I was nervous for you to see that. And I was like, oh, wait, you're serious? Yeah, you really did. And he's like, yeah. So I didn't understand all that stuff. I didn't know all that stuff. It's obviously, as you get older in the league, you understand that you've been around in the NFL, and there's not a lot of guys in the NFL that would choose an offensive lineman to be their favorite player. But Mike is one of them because, Mike's a weird guy. Yeah.
Joe, when you look at Mike being a weird guy and George Kittle,
that should be an article too, by the way.
You've embodied this kind of that kind of mentality where you've been able to kind of go through the highs and lows of some really bad teams, great teams, some really, really, really bad teams, and now good teams again. Do you think that kind of that spirit that McGlinchey and Kittle have, which is similar to yours, kind of helps you ride that roller coaster of emotions through an NFL career?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, you got to understand at the end of the day, we play in the NFL and we play football. And as much as we all think it's, the most serious thing in the world, it's a game. And it's a fun game that, we're privileged to play for a lot of people that enjoy what we do and bring entertainment to people. And at the end of the day, it's an entertainment business, and you got to have fun with what you're doing. And you can take things very serious while you're doing that, but you're also enjoying what you do, bringing a spirit of laughter, and you can bring all that to the table every single day when you come to work. And I think kind of approaching it like that, not to make light of like the seasons that are bad, but there's a lot of different factors that go into what makes a season really, really good. And as much as certain players like to think that it's them that does it, it's not. It's 100% the collection of everything that comes together. And also the same respect for what makes a team and a season really, really, really bad. I mean, it's a collection of everything that kind of comes together to go in the wrong direction. And I think what was really huge for me was just understanding that I'm going to enjoy what I'm going to do every single day. I'm going to give everything I have to being the absolute best player that I can be. I'm going to try to give everything I have to making others around me the best players I can be. But you can't really control, as much as you want to, you can't really control the 100% output of what a huge team sport like football does.
Hi, Joe. I wanted to ask you about 2017. The year obviously wasn't going well, but then you guys won that game against the Giants. And I remember you being just so extremely happy about that game. And now in retrospect, it almost seemed like it was a little bit of foreshadowing. Like that was kind of, to me, it seemed like the start of a turnaround. I was wondering if you look at, that year and the attitude that you guys were able to maintain in the locker room of optimism. Do you think that did carry over to the run that we saw this past year?
100%. I think that was what was so exciting about that year. When I would think about that 2017 year, was that we did not have results at all, like we all wanted and expected. And I think, everybody around us, outside, media, everything that was talked about was, well, this is the same Niners. But we did not feel that way at all in the locker room. And I think what was really, really cool about that year was that, guys maybe in the past and past teams that I've been on would have, listened to that stuff and, would have kind of got to the midway point of the season and been like, oh man, all right, this season's just try to get through this season. We'll move on to the next year. And it was not that way at all. And I think that was 100%, from the top leadership that we had with John and Kyle and just everybody that's a part of the front office and coaching staff there. And then, the veteran leaders that we had, that everybody was still giving everything they had during practice. There was no division through the media. The guys weren't, pointing fingers publicly or privately. It was just a really cool team to be a part of. And I think, going through an 0-8 season or 0-9, and I think we won our first game. It was, and to still see that, I've been on teams that you're 5-3 and you got infighting and all this different kind of stuff. But we had an 0-9 season, and then guys are still keeping together and pulling together. I just knew it was like a special build of a special foundation for what was to come.
Hey, Joe, you were talking about how you teased McGlinchey about having a 74 jersey frame. Can you, we're trying to play I Spy behind you, and I'm guessing that's an Alex Smith signed jersey and maybe a Frank Gore helmet back there. What else you got behind you?
These are my wife's
Soccer?
Her accolades in college. Women's Soccer Defensive Player of the Year, Women's Soccer Defensive Player of the Year, Women's Soccer Championship Most Outstanding Defender. I got right here is a gift from Mikey Potty. This thing.
Yeah.
I think my screen is mirrored. I think that's why I'm having a hard time right now. And then just balls and stuff. I got a whole bunch of jerseys and stuff that I haven't gotten framed up yet. Got my wife's jerseys in here. Her soccer jerseys. You see I got little Mikey Potty, Justin Smith. I got my stuff, my jerseys over here. Gareth Bale. Got some booze. Got a Frank Gore jersey that he gave me after I think it was one of his last home games against the Chargers. The game one. I have framed up somewhere.
Perfect lead in. I was just going to ask you about Frank Gore because he had a nice little tweet to you the other day.
Yeah.
What was that relationship like for you? What does that mean to you? Those different things that happen in football that really just don't happen anywhere else.
Yeah, Frank was, I think, I don't think Frank, I think he knows now because I communicated this with him, but I don't think at the moment he understood how much of an impact he had on my football career because of just, Frank was a guy that I watched. What is going on with the screen right now? Sorry, I'm getting, everybody's coming in. Okay. Yeah. Anyways, Frank was a guy that I was a huge sports fan growing up, and he was a guy that I watched and, I didn't idolize, but it was he was a superstar. And so I came in the NFL and he had just got done rushing for 1,600 yards. And he was a guy that was the leader of the team. And he was, he was a San Francisco 49ers when I got there. And to watch him work and the way that he approached every single day was something special for me as a rookie, just to be able this is what it takes to be. He's like, this is what it takes to be a stud in the NFL. And so, it was just special to be able to block for him for so long. You guys all know Frank. He's quiet. He doesn't do a lot of stuff. He doesn't pump himself up. He's just a guy that you want to play for, a guy that you respect because of what he does and what he brings to the game of football. He's a great ambassador for the game. I could go on and on about Frank, and that was really special for me to play for him. And then, he reached out over this weekend, and it was a special conversation just to be able to, talk with him, and he shared some nice words and stuff like that. So I mean, he'll be a lifelong friend and someone I was very fortunate enough to cross paths with for a long time and have a lot of special moments with.
Joe, this is Chris again. You said after the Super Bowl you didn't care about the paychecks and the personal accolades, and that all you really wanted to do was hoist that trophy, and you didn't get to do that. I'm curious how you reflect on your career, just given the fact that you weren't able to win a Super Bowl, and also where did that set of ideals come from? Was there a mentor or somebody that sort of instilled that to you, or is it something that you just gradually had for yourself as your career progressed?
No, I mean, probably my parents. It's being raised around them. It's not about accolades. It's not about, doing stuff to get noticed. It's, you're trying to do whatever you're doing, you're trying to give your best at. And you're trying to win and trying to be the best that you can be at it. And, Super Bowl is the best thing you can do as a professional athlete is to win a Super Bowl. And yeah, it sucks. It really does. I mean, it sucks to not be able to win that. I've watched since I was 5 years old watching Super Bowls, and just the joy that it brings to players, and being able to hoist that trophy up in the air, and just kind of reflect on the journey that it took to get there, and how meaningful that would have been for, me and, just everybody on the football team. There's so many different people that have deserved that over the years. But, it wasn't in the cards. And I gave everything I had to the game of football. And, I definitely don't leave, my head hung in that respect. I think I did everything I could do. But it just, just didn't happen for whatever reasons. Just didn't happen for me, and didn't happen for us. And so that's frustrating, but it's not something I'll, going to torment me for the rest of my life.
We've got time for one more question. Do we have something a little more uplifting?
Hey, Jake Hutchinson here. Kyle basically said that you'd be welcome back in any capacity you want if that's something you'd like. Have you given any consideration to, being around the team or potentially, going into coaching?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to be the head coach. So, if Kyle said any capacity, that's just kind of like, where my mind's at right now. That's a joke, so please don't print that. No, I haven't right now thought about what that capacity would be. I mean, this is all still very, very fresh, and just kind of my mind right now is just going forward is be like, take some time and just enjoy my family and kind of get used to being not a football player anymore, and moving on from that. So but I still have a huge love for the game of football, obviously, and I think I can definitely serve in some capacity because I have a lot of knowledge, and feel like I'm a pretty good teacher. So I would love to get into coaching possibly down the road. But if not that, maybe some kind of, I don't know what the word is, consulting maybe, I don't know. But I'd love to definitely won't be a stranger around or nothing like that. So.
We got one more question. Last one to close it out. Matt Mayoko.
Yeah, Joe, you were recently named to the NFL All-Decade team. Just when you found that out and you reflect on the decade of the 2010s, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, I think I just got done giving a big monologue about how I don't care about accolades, but I think that was I don't know, that was one thing that I was I was pretty proud of that, because I think that just kind of encompasses your whole entire career. And to be looked at by my peers and different people, writers, and I'm not even sure who 100% votes and all that stuff, but whoever does, to be looked at in that respect and with that much respect for what I've done over my career, it meant a lot just because of I think it's a big honor. So I definitely was very grateful to be in named to that team and in the position to be on that team, I guess. But yeah, it's funny how I gave that exact opposite answer to that question that I gave to the basically same one earlier.